Hey America, welcome back to Super Awesome Group. I'm your host of the week, Nicholas Moore, and as always I'm here with our residential life coach, Christopher Lombardi.
What's up, homies?
And our residential Seth Olson.
He's not a residential something. I'm a residential life coach.
He's a residential Seth. You always be a residential Seth.
Everybody needs a Seth.
Everybody should have residential Seth.
I am my own enigma, so you're welcome, America.
Yep, his own enigma. Let's give him some of that. Yeah. So fresh off of our quarterly meetup this past Saturday in Philadelphia, it was lots and lots of fun. We did lots and lots of cool, super awesome shit. We also videotaped it like Chris promised. You should be expecting to see that in the near future. So look forward to following along with us in all the awesome, action-packed events that we participated in. Our super action-packed, super events in the super city in the entire universe, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. So this week we're doing something. I want to do something a little bit different. Well, even though last week we did something a little bit different than last week, and also a little bit different than all the other videos, is have a little bit of a round table. We have our residential residents here to give their residential expertise on a little point that I wanted to make, and hopefully this is helpful to you too, America. I've mentioned it before a couple meetings, and Chris has also mentioned it. He tweets about it as well. Well, one of the things that I got into towards the beginning of this was getting in the middle of Miracle Morning, which is kind of like a morning routine, something to help you get up in the morning, get ready for the day. And then just on top of that, just generalized routines. I've been noting that while I've been accomplishing a lot of things I want to accomplish, I've been kind of falling out of a lot of routines that I've established for this year. I noticed that happening before, back when I lived with Chris. A lot of my routines started to go downhill, and I was able to get a restart. I moved to Philadelphia and got a new job, and obviously I can't do that every single time. I feel like my routine's gotten stale. So I kind of want to talk to these guys. I of course know a consistency in your routine, and just being consistent in general is very important to being successful. I mean, I spoke about it before, the Seinfeld method, about how you just got to put that X on the calendar for every day that you accomplish what you want to accomplish. Just continue that consistent routine. Make sure you're doing everything that you want to do. But I also feel like sometimes that the routine can get stale, and whether when you get there, whether you should try to find a way to update it, so it's a little bit different, so you just continues to stay fresh, or to just kind of power through it and make sure that you should be continuing on in this routine that you've established. So I'll open the floor to my good friend Christopher on his thoughts on this, and see what he's got to say.
Yeah, this is important, man. I love that you change things up. And you're bringing up an important issue that I have lots of thoughts on. So I'm going to say those thoughts. First, just to answer your question, I think you have to change things up. But I think that change can be inherent in what you do. So if your goal or if your habit that you want to instill is get up every morning and write, that's not going to change. You're going to write. That's okay to just write every morning. But what you write about is where like you throw in the creativity. Like if you wake up and you write the same thing every day, you'll get better. Once you've mastered what you wrote, then you reach that plateau. You eventually have to change. You're eventually not going to get any better at that thing. So, to change it, you get better at something else. And then you change it, you get better at something else. Maybe those things build on each other. So I agree with you. I think, I think that if you keep it the same, one, it does get boring. you lose motivation, and 2, you lose efficiency or effectiveness of the habit. You know, the reason to do is to build a habit or to build something inside yourself that becomes of this habit. So, and I think there's 2 things that drive you to do habits. And like you said, you know, like a big change makes it easier to instill a new habit. You know, like sometimes, I don't know, when I come down, when I realize like, oh man, you know, I've really hit like a rough patch. You know, the last like 3 weeks I've been really down, you know, borderline depressed. You know, I'll kind of I'll flip a switch and be like, you know, fuck that. I'm not depressed. Fuck that. That's not who I am. I'm gonna turn this around right now, and I'm gonna hit the ground running. And I do. I'll hit the ground running, but I'll eventually run out of steam. So I think there's 2 things that really drive you to get up and continue a habit, and one is motivation. So that motivation to change, that motivation to instill, to make yourself better, is big during those big stress moments of life. You know, like when everything else is changing around you, it's easier to change something else also. You know, when it's hard to change something or instill a new habit is when you're very, very comfortable in what you do. Another driver of habit is discipline. And what's going to happen is after that initial motivation kind of dissipates, the initial energy and excitement of the new habit dissipates, what you're going to be left with is what you're going to need now is you're going to need discipline. You need to replace that motivation with discipline. And that discipline is like a muscle. You have to flex it. You have to break it down. You have to push it to its limits in order to make it bigger. The way I kind of think of it is that whatever you say you're going to do, you know, whether it's to another person or it's to yourself, whether you make a promise to somebody else or you make a promise to yourself, you got to do it. If you say you're going to be somewhere, doesn't matter what happens, make sure you're there. If you say, I'm going to wake up in the morning, I better be there, you know? And the reason that's so important is because if you don't do that, if you make that promise and you don't do that, then you're subconsciously telling yourself that it's okay to not do what I set out to, what I said I was going to do. And it just makes it that much easier to break a habit that's good for you in the future. But when you do, like if you say, I'm going to be here no matter what, and then, you know, even if something better comes up, but you're like, no, I'm not going to do that because I said I was going to be here. And you go. You may feel bad about not going to the other thing. You may think you've missed out. But you now have instilled, you've told your subconscious that it is unacceptable to go back on what you've said. So I think what happens a lot, and I know I certainly do this all the time, is I go too fast. You know, I'll get all hyped up on motivation, and I'll ride that train. But once that motivation dissipates, I don't have the discipline to keep that habit going. It's because I'm trying to do too much too fast. I haven't flexed that discipline muscle enough. I haven't built it up enough. So while it's good to push it to its limits, discipline, it needs to be gradually built. So you need to kind of ease your way into a new habit. Been a little off topic there. I don't know if I completely answer your question of do you need to change it up, but I think habits are extremely important, and I think because they build character. That's the way you build it into your muscle memory, you know, so that it's easy, it becomes second nature. You don't have to consciously do something, but in order to build more and more habits and more difficult habits, you need to slowly get there. And a lot of people, including mostly myself, What they do is, and what we do is we try to do too much too soon. That's a big trap that I fall into.
Yep. Cool. Yeah. I think touched on two really good points. And you definitely answered one of my questions about, mixing it up a little bit or changing it up, but to build off of what you've accomplished already, like you said, the plateau, making sure you build off of what you've already been doing and then changing that to mix up what you're doing and trying to think of a better word for it. To make things a little bit more exciting, so you're actually more motivated to get up. And additionally, there is a discipline. At the end of the day, you might want to, in your head, you might want to get up at 5 o'clock in the morning to get an hour of writing in, but you still have to roll out of bed at 5 o'clock in the morning and do that. And it goes back to one of the things that I remembered when I was reading the Miracle Morning book. The first couple weeks are going to be hard, once you're trying to establish this routine, no matter what, it's a routine you want to do, you tell yourself you want to do, but at the end of the day, you still have to do it. And then your points on trying to subconsciously motivate yourself, definitely good points to work off of. So yeah, that's a good response there, Chris.
Well, thank you.
One of these. I'm sure America agrees and is clapping behind their own computers. Our resident Seth, do you have any input on this conversation that we are having?
Yeah, obviously, look, I completely agree with everything Chris said. The hardest thing about doing a habit is getting started, because once you get into a routine, like, things get easier. But like you said, they get stale. And I know from personal experience, like, the biggest thing I do with routine is, like, every day I go to the gym, and to keep things interesting, I change up different workouts. And, like, some days I'll instead of going to the gym, I'll do a sport where I play with, like, friends, or I'll go out for a bike ride or go for a run. I'm sure Chris does the same things. But which brings me to my next thing. I think another good thing to help establish routine and keep a routine is when you have which obviously it's not that you can't apply to everything, but is if you have someone to do it with, or like sort of a challenge, like whether it's like like working out someone you go to the gym with, or if it's like a hobby, if it's like someone you meet up and do it with, because then there's like same thing. There's more accountability on you if someone else is relying on you. It's not like you could just give up on the day and be like, no, wasn't gonna do it. It's the same thing with, like, an emphasis. If you have a group project, like, you can't just not do your part and expect someone else to do it for you. That's not the way things work. So, and obviously it doesn't apply to everything, but you could find ways to incorporate other partners. If it's like, if you find a match for something, like whether if it's like you're doing Miracle Morning, you make a challenge out of it, and then or a competition with, like, other people who do it, or kind of same thing, like, just like I said, I completely agree with everything Chris said, but I think another big thing is have just more accountability on you just makes you more likely to do something. And I always think that mob mentality, the group mentality, and the same thing what we have here as a group. We don't do something, or if someone's late, like, I miss a meeting, you guys don't let me hear the end of it, and I won't miss another one. And it's the same kind of thing. Like, we have a nice routine. We've been doing this for a couple of years now, and still going strong. So I guess that's my 2 cents of this topic.
I really like that. I like, if you know somebody's waiting for you at the gym, you're that much more likely to go. As much as you'd like to go back down and sleep, somebody is watching you. Somebody's gonna know that you skipped out in the gym, and there's that level of pride that you want to be like, yeah, I did that.
Yeah. And another thing, like, I don't know how this applies to this direct conversation, like, but kind of like if you have a routine like a gym membership or like any type of membership to something, like whether it's like the whole blog thing. If I decide to do a paid website, it's like you have more incentive to do something if you have like also financial ties to it. I don't know how that necessarily applies to this aspect, but if you do have something, it might be like a little more incentive to go that extra. If you really want to be motivated to do something, involve an aspect that has a membership. So you're just like, all right, like I'm not gonna just throw away money, like whether it's like if you're doing a class, like I remember one time I did a class, online class for credits. I was like, all right, like it kind of got boring. I didn't know if I was going to use it, but you're not going to give it up because ultimately you paid for it. You might as well have it. So.
Yeah, tell it to the gym membership that I barely use.
Yeah, I know. Well, that's what I'm saying. Like, I don't want to keep on harping on back to the gym membership because it's or like something because it's it's a gym membership. I'm sure everybody does it, but like I'm trying to tie it to other aspects of life.
It makes sense. I've signed up for free online classes that I have never finished. Like I've signed up for so many of those and like done the first couple of weeks and then it's free. So I'm like, who cares? I'm not hurting anybody. If I had money attached to that, you damn straight I'd be doing all the homework, doing all the work, learning as much as I can if I paid for that.
Yeah. Same thing with my we're both all in a fantasy football league. Like, sometimes I give up because like I'm either busy with other stuff or I'm doing bad, but there's a lot of financial aspects with it too, so I want to win.
Yeah.
There is. You're right.
Cool. Yeah. Some good points there, Seth. I guess when it goes back to the accountability thing, I mean, you touched on it as well. I mean, that's basically pretty much the whole point of this group here. I mean, when it comes to some of the routines that I may have been skirting personally, I just don't put them on my goals list anymore. I want to do them, but I'm kind of skirting the accountability, which I shouldn't be doing. So I think a good thing that I'm going to do for this week is I'm going to try to figure out some goals. I'll definitely build on top of it. Like you said, I don't want to do everything at once, and then I'll split them out. When I put my goals out, I put my regular goals and I put my routine or habit goals. So at the very least, you guys can kind of see what goals that I should be making into my habits, and then give me shit about it if I don't do it. And another thing that I liked, Seth, bringing it back to the whole the gym. I'm trying to think the word I'm trying to look for. Allegory. I don't think is the word, but changing things up. I mean, even with that, I notice sometimes even at the gym, I'll change things up. I'll do a different muscle group. I'll mix up the type of workouts I do, but I still find myself going in kind of a circle. So it kind of ties what you said into what Chris said onto hitting the plateau. So in addition to, I think that a good conclusion to that, in addition to continuing your routine and continuing to mix it up, is to learn more about what you're trying to get your routine into, and then add new things. To go back in the gym thing again, I switch it around, but I don't ever add new things. So I don't ever research a better way to work out this muscle group. So it's something else that's new to me. I might be working my arms again, but it's a new thing. So something that I've also been doing with my writing. We talked about it offline, but after this dialogue class I took, one of the recommendations would be to listen to a movie. So something I'm trying to incorporate into my learning of writing. There's a website called listentoamovie.com where it's just the dialogue, and I can listen to it at work, and it just helps me focus on that. So, so I guess when it comes to a routine, I definitely would want to continue to keep learning about more ways to accomplish that. Is another good point from Seth's little blurb there. So yeah.
Besides the gym, what other habits have you fell off of?
Well, I just haven't really been getting up in the morning. Just kind of I don't remember. Yeah, I think the miracle morning is kind of becoming stale a little bit to me. and sometimes I just don't want to get up in the morning and exercise. So I've been thinking, like you said, Chris, maybe start to incorporate writing in the morning. Maybe do a little bit of writing in the morning, and then after I get home, I'll have a little bit more time to maybe do some exercising after I get home from work. We'll see. We'll see how that works out. I know we were talking about earlier. Sometimes it's a little hard to do any type of workout after you get home, but just kind of mixing things up. Trying to figure out another way for me to get up in the morning and utilize that time before I go to work.
That'd be cool if you start writing in the morning, because your mind's in that weird place between awake and sleep where you would probably think of some real fucked up shit.
Especially when I'm waking up from the stuff I dream about.
Oh God.
Exactly, that's what I'm saying. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I definitely think one of my goals is to start to incorporate the writing in the morning. I feel like that would be that would get me out of bed a little bit better than other things. I think I do want to extend my meditation time. Just kind of overtake everything I did for the Miracle Mornings. I just meditate for like 20 minutes. I know that's one thing that I've always heard about a lot of creative people. I know I talked about it way back when our good friend Brad was in the group. A transcendental meditation is something that like a lot of people that I admire in the creative business kind of swear on. So maybe try to to do a little bit more studying in that, and doing just overall just meditation. So yeah. So this is good. It's a good little roundtable discussion. It's I hope, America, you found it as useful as I did, and you and Chris and Seth as well. If there were any type of routine centric things that you were thinking about, it's also I think it'll be a nice little archival video to have, just in case this happens again for any of us or any of you, America. I can go back and see what your favorite super awesome group thinks on the subject.
Yeah, this is cool.
Yeah,
I like this.
So maybe maybe this is something we definitely should keep doing the goals things that we've been doing. Maybe this is something that we can kind of mix in to keep the routine of America watching super awesome group every week.
We gotta change it up, man.
A little bit, yeah. So I guess do you guys have any closing comments?
Yeah, smile for Twitter. Sweet. All right, cool.
Just hope.
In case you haven't heard the past dozen times, guys, my good friend Chris Lombardi here is on Twitter throwing out the motivational tweets all day, every day. Check him out.
Real Lambeezy, homies.
Yeah, that one.
All day.
Yep. And if you wanna check out any of my crazy delusional writing things that are going to happen in the morning now that I'm half awake, check them out on my blog. It's Mirrodin16, or actually, if you want to go straight to the blog, it's nicholasmoorewrites, all one word.com. Check out some of the previous stuff that I've written. Leave a comment, send out a tweet to me, tell me how amazing I am. It's always good.
If you want to check out Seth, retweet, try to get Mets tickets, check him out at Seth3Olsen. He really tries hard, guys.
Yeah.
So give him some support.
And also Seth touched on it a little bit earlier. It's still in the works, but I don't know if he mentioned it the last couple of meetings. But Seth is starting his own blog as well. He'll be telling us all about his amazing travel experiences. I'm sure you, America, are chomping at the bit to hear about that, as am I. And
release date, let's say November. So hopefully for an early release, though.
Cool. We are all looking forward to that, Seth. All right. So if that is it, I think maybe it's time to end it up for the week. So America, thanks again for tuning in. I know I learned something. I hope you learned something too. And residential life coach, residential Seth, and residential best-selling author. Signing out.